VCT Masters Berlin is over, and you have to give it to Gambit. They were just better when it mattered most. For the first time since Iceland, a non-American team is now in the conversation for best in the world. But we saw so much more in this tournament. We saw good games throughout, we saw the expected champions crumble to bits, and we even saw a little bit of drama. Okay, maybe quite a lot of drama. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Alright then, if you love this video, then you're probably going to enjoy our brand new YouTube Shorts channel, where we upload all the best funny moments and highlights from the streamers and pros you love. I'm kind of addicted to it, to be honest. It's really good, so make sure you subscribe. Alright, so as the dust settles now on VCT Masters 2, let's take a quick look at how we got here. It's been a crazy few weeks in an even crazier year for Valorant. For those of you that follow the scene closely, it might be easy to forget just how new everything is. In May, Masters 1 in Reykjavik gave us the first international VCT event in the game's short history. And considering it was Valorant's first major LAN event, it went pretty well. We saw North America perform better than expected, Sentinels won the whole thing without dropping a single map, and the finals drew in over 1 million concurrent viewers.
Dome was close, they don't know.
Oh my god, he gets flashed! The team flash! The team flash! Magnum's in the smoke here, 10
Oh my god!
Magnum's got no HP, not like this! Sentinels! They're gonna get the defuse! They've done it! Sentinels are the Masters 2 Reykjavik champions! And they do it flawlessly! They didn't drop a single map! They have made history here, Riv, because they are the first global champions in Valorant history.
In the months since, there's been a lot of hype around Sentinels being the best team in the world. Some were quick to proclaim we're living in the Sentinels era, but others weren't so sure. It's not that Sentinels haven't been dominant, they have, but come on. Iceland was the first major Valorant LAN. It came at a time when many regions were still finding their feet, and so some people said you couldn't really draw broad conclusions about the pro scene from it. When VCT Berlin approached though, there were no excuses. The game had been out for well over a year, we'd seen 9 months of official Riot tournaments, everyone knew what the deal was. And that's why there was so much excitement going into this. Would Sentinels still be number 1? Could EU surpass NA? And what about Korea's Vision Strikers? Would they find redemption after failing to qualify for Iceland? Before those questions could be answered though, we had the group stage, which did not disappoint.
Let's see if there's anything left in the tank. What can they bring us here? Already Heat's going to spot out most of the play and also just takes up. Oh, Makiva's had the follow-up as well. They're saying pretty. Doesn't even need to zoom in. Doesn't need.
No way, dude.
Get out of here. Get out!
The G2 versus Sentinels showdown in Group D was highly anticipated, especially because G2 hired a literal plane to fly a banner that said Sentinels on it. Yeah. But a plane wasn't quite enough to shake Sentinels as TENS did typical TENS things to bring them the victory over G2.
It towards the side, good trade to start it out. Coldamenta holding close still, only good for the one. The operator misses, and TENS might just have shown up when they needed him. 3 kills out of this young man.
The server, but can Kellogg's ruin it for the side of Sentinels? Absolutely not.
Despite Gambit coming a close second to 100 Thieves in their group, they were already showing signs that something special was yet to come.
30 seconds left. Reset! Okay, make that a 1v2. Defo manages to pick up the spike as well. Understands he goes there. Ethan's going in there as well. He goes in aggressive. Defo good for 4. Looking to work the ace with the Blade Storm. He's got a util. Defo does it. My goodness, the ace to kick off the series for Gambit.
And there was even time for a little bit of memeing when Paper Rex's Benkai woke up just in time for a game. But the playoffs is where things really kicked off. First, let's talk about the elephant in the room. They begin with S, and they also end with S. Sentinels made it out of Group D along with G2, but after losing to them the second time, the gods of North America weren't looking quite as sharp as people were expecting. As the favourites going into the tournament, they were expected to at least make it to the grand finals, but ended up crashing out to Envy in quarters. This was pretty insane. If you'd have said before this tournament that Sentinels would be out in quarters, people would have said there's something wrong with you. Some tens heroics to bring the first game to overtime still ended in a loss, and by the end of the second game, it was clear that Envy were the better team on this day.
They're all looking for it, no opportunities being found. It's traded out again, Ye's there. It's all on Shazam, and it's over! It's done with! They say when you come for the king, you best not miss, and Envy, they didn't!
Envy had killed the kings of Valorant. In semis, they continued to wreck their North American brethren by dismantling 100 Thieves to take them to the final. Their dominance was matched only by Gambit on the other side of the bracket, who took down Vision Strikers in quarters before facing off against G2 in semis. The first game was close, but the second brought the only 13-0 map in the entire tournament. It was brutal.
3 players remain. G2 being utterly humiliated. They'll get themselves a spike plant. They'll give themselves a bit of hope, but Shados looking to drop more players. Another one falls. It is looking all but over. It's on to Kellogg's to give them anything, and G2 have been humiliated as Gambit make their way through to the final, and who the hell will doubt them now?
The stage was set for the grand finals. On the one side, we had Gambit coming off the back of their ridiculous 13-0 win, and on the other, we had Envy, who hadn't dropped a single map in the tournament so far. Still, nobody could have predicted just how tight things were going to be.
But can the rest of Envy stay alive? That's a bigger thing. There's a TP, and now look at FNS. He can lock these players in. They have no idea he's got around to this spot. This is good himself for success. FNS slicing through them. It could not have been better. Envy somehow turning this back around.
Posted up in hookup. That's the first one to find if he needs to.
Still a tricky angle. Clear. Not going to happen. FNS, you're a hero. You just got Envy to 12-12.
Gambit took the first map in overtime, but Envy were undeterred going into the second, with Ye pulling off some frankly inhuman clutches.
So good against like Sentinels. Ye still looking good. Excuse me, Ye. Got his ult, but it is against big boy Nat, and Ye's gonna get that to halfway. You know it is. Now, Nat, what are you gonna do about this, though? Okay, that's the plan. Okay, forces him off it. The spam comes in. He goes right back out.
No way.
Ye, what can you do? The right click. Nat, he's just doing the dance.
What am I watching?
The frag.
What am I watching? He's got the defuse, Lauren. Yay!
But although Envy looked unstoppable at times, Gambit looked inevitable. They were 2-0 up, and you all know what happened next.
Timing, oh my god,
What?
no! Yeah, he's made a meal of it! It's all going to pieces! Miracle! In the final moments, has just shone so brightly, they are blinded by the lights! Gambit are the Valorant Masters champions!
You know what? It was a sick finals. It was close, it was incredibly fast paced, it had back and forths, it had everything you'd want. Some people were quick to claim Gambit's victory as a win for EU in their great rivalry versus NA, that Gambit winning was a point on the board for Europe. But as Average Jonas pointed out on Twitter, Gambit are an EMEA team, which includes European, Turkish, and also teams like Gambit from the CIS region. It's important to make this distinction, not just for NA fans who don't want EU to hold this over them, but because the CIS region really deserves the credit here. Take Na'Vi for example, the current kings of CSGO. They're from the CIS. Even Gambit's Counter-Strike team were dominating during the COVID lockdown when there were no LAN events. While NA and EU have been bickering about who's best in the FPS world, the CIS teams have been quietly taking over, and Gambit's Valorant win is just the latest example of this. And while we're speaking about both of these games, it's a good time to bring up Envy's press conference after their defeat. For those of you that don't know, Envy's Marved has been wrapped up in a match-fixing scandal from his time as a CSGO pro, which is currently being investigated by ESIC. When a journalist questioned Envy about whether this will affect their Valorant team, let's just say it didn't go down too well.
There are a lot of rumors from the Counter-Strike days around match fixing in the MDL. I'm wondering if that concerns the team right now, if any of you guys are thinking about that in terms of players on the team, roster changes, and so on.
We're ignoring this question.
What a question.
We're ignoring
huh?
this question. What a question.
We're ignoring it.
We're good on that one.
Envy's founder Hastro doubled down on this reply later on Twitter, saying, if one of our players is proven to have cheated, fixed a match, or violated the integrity of the games we compete in, they will be removed from our team instantly. You journalists don't need to ask. How about you investigate? The FBI is also involved in this investigation, so yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see if the investigation finds Marv guilty, and then if they do, whether or not Riot will take action for improper behavior in another game like CSGO. In slightly less hard-hitting drama, some people were up in arms when 100 Thieves content creator and Tenz's girlfriend Kaide called Crashies scrawny on stream after Envy knocked out Sentinels in quarterfinals.
Dialed in. He keeps landing.
It's over.
Huge for Envy.
There was a lot of backlash on social media about this, with people accusing Kaide of body-shaming Crashies. She later released a twit-longer in which she apologized for the remarks and said she'd received death threats over all of this, which have made her think about taking a break from streaming before thanking those who had kept her accountable for what she says and does. It's safe to say that some people's reaction to her comment were insane. I know everyone has a different definition of what toxic is, but death threats for this is completely batshit and incredibly unfair to her. One last thing that I took away from all the action this weekend was the rising competition for the title of best player in the world. After Iceland, Ten certainly stepped up as the frontrunner.
Finds the greatest time ever to backstab through window and blindside Dapper, but Tens and company holding on, but the response from Cloud9 has been swift as well. But Tens, it's gonna go all the way for the ace. You have to be kidding me.
But let me tell you, this past weekend, Ascend's CNED and Gambit's Nats did a lot to say, hey, don't forget about us.
And especially in a round like this where there's only going to be pistols in play, it's going to become fairly difficult. And alright, CNED, that's probably the most knives I think I've ever seen fired off in one go. Ever again. That just doesn't, it makes no sense. He was reloading as he peeked Mixwell. I can't believe what we've just witnessed. Get me out. Get me out.
How is he not? Look at his face.
So, where are we now? Well, Gambit's win has secured them a spot at Champions at the end of the year, where we'll see the best 16 teams in the world battle it out in the major to end all majors, at least for this year. They also earned the EMEA region a 4th spot at Champions, which has resulted in Fnatic qualifying for the tournament and Ascend rounding out the 3rd team qualified so far. And although Envy didn't take home the trophy this time, their 2nd place finish has earned them enough circuit points to qualify for Champions. The other North American team that has already qualified is, of course, Sentinels, thanks to their unpassable circuit points earned throughout the year. That leaves room for one more North American team in the last chance qualifiers. In Brazil, Team Viking's performance throughout the year earned them enough circuit points to qualify, while Keyed Stars took the 2nd spot. They actually started Berlin with 0 circuit points, but then leapfrogged over every other team in the region to secure that 2nd spot thanks to their points from this tournament. Southeast Asia is sending X10 and Team Secret to Champions, while Vision Strikers and Crazy Raccoon respectively will be Korea and Japan's sole representatives. After dominating Latin America, Crew Esports will be representing the region, while the South America and APAC regions will have to wait for the last chance qualifier tournaments in October. For now, Gambit are the rightful kings of Valorant, but as we've seen from Sentinels, sometimes these things don't last too long. Yeah, am I right? You guys with me or what? That was crazy, you guys. What were they thinking, yo? Okay, I'm done. We're playing.